Hello everyone, my name is Sneha. I am a student of BSc Chemistry Honours 3rd semester and I am here for giving my presentation on the topic coordination compounds. So let's start from the very basic definition of coordination compounds. These compounds represent a special class of complexes in which the central metal atom is surrounded by a number of ions, basically those kinds of ions which donate electrons to the central metal atom. Now, there were various theories that were put forward. One of them was the Werner's theory on coordination compounds. The basic postulates of Werner's theory are: number 1, every metal atom has a fixed number of secondary valencies, that is coordination number. Every metal atom tries to satisfy both its primary valency and its secondary one. The third postulate is primary valencies are satisfied by negative ion, and in the case of secondary valencies it is possible that whether it is satisfied by negative ion or the positive ion. The primary valencies are non-directional. On the other hand, the secondary valencies are directional in nature and are directed towards a fixed position in space. Now let's talk about the isomerism shown by the coordination compounds. The most important two types of isomerism that is shown by most of the coordination compounds is structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. There are various types in which structural isomerism is further classified, which is discussed below. So the first type is ionization isomerism. In this type of isomerism, exchange of anion takes place within and outside the coordination sphere. Let's understand it better with an example. So here we have taken two compounds of cobalt in which one of the compounds, sulfate ion, is outside the ionic sphere, and in the second one, bromine ion is outside and sulfate ion is inside. That is, there is an exchange in the ions and hence ionization isomerism takes place. Now the second type of isomerism that is classified under structural isomerism is hydrate isomerism. In this type of isomerism, water is exchanged between the complex within the square brackets and the rest of the complex. We can take a classical example to understand this type of isomerism. We can take an example of chromium chloride .6H2O. Now there are three isomers of this compound that are commonly known, which are Cr H2O whole 6, Cl3, chromium H2O 5. Here one water molecule get exchanged from one chlorine ion from outside and get shifted outside the sphere, and this formula becomes as follows. Similarly, in the next isomer, another water molecule gets shifted outside the ionic sphere, and here it gets H2O whole 4 Cl2 inside the square brackets, and outside it becomes H2O whole twice Cl. Or we can write it as 2 H2O molecules. Experimental observations showed that both three isomers show different color. For example, the first isomer show violet color, second one is green in color, and the third one is dark green in color. The next type of isomerism is coordinate isomerism. This type of isomerism takes place when the metal ion is present both in cationic and anionic portion. For example, cobalt NH3 whole 6, cobalt NO2 whole 6. So here the cationic portion as well as the anionic portion both contains a metal ion, that is cobalt. Now the next type of isomerism is linkage isomerism. Linkage isomerism arises because some ligands can coordinate to the metal ion in more than one way. Those ligands are also known as ambidient ligands, ambidentate ligands. That is, those ligands which possess more than one donor sites are known as ambidentate ligands. For example, CN or NC, SCN or CNS, NCS, NO2 or ONO, etc. Now we will study about the stereoisomers of coordination compounds. So basically the word stereo means space. That is, those isomers which have same atom to atom linkage or same atom to atom bonding sequence, but the atoms differ in their arrangement in the space. That is the spatial arrangement. Geometrical isomerism is one in which the atoms linked with the central metal atom are same, but their position differs. For example, let us take an example. A central atom M and here 4 atoms linked with it, A, B, B. Similarly, on the other side, the same atoms are A, B, B. So now here in one of the arrangement, both A atoms are present on one side. Similarly, both B kind of atoms are present on one side. Hence, this assures the cis type of arrangement. On the other hand, here one A atom is present exactly opposite to the second A type of atom. Similarly, in the case of B, both the B kind of atoms are in opposite direction to each other. Hence, it assigns the compound a trans configuration. So this is a classical example of geometrical isomerism. Now we will discuss about chelates. So chelates are cyclic or ring compounds that are formed when a ligand binds with the central metal atom or ion through 2 or more donor atoms of a ligand. Like for example, let's take an example of ethylene diamine, whose molecular formula is as follows: NH2 CH2 CH2 NH2. And this ethylene diamine reacts with copper ion, copper 2 positive, here we have taken 2 molecules of ethylene diamine which reacts with copper 2 positive, giving the chelate, whose structure is as follows: CH2NH2 whose structure is as follows: such a ligand that binds the metal atom to 2 or more atoms is called as a chelating agent, chelating ligand, and this process is known as chelation. To be a chelating ligand, the foremost condition is that the ligand or the donor atom should be multidentate. That is, it should possess more than one donating sites. So that it could undergo the process of chelation and form the resulting ring compound, which are known as chelates, as illustrated in the above example. Now, factors affecting stability of the complexes are as follows. First of all, chelate effect. When any multidentate ligand links with the central any metal ion to form chelate, the resulting complex is more stable rather than when a unidentate ligand combines with the metal ion. This can be proved by the following illustrations. Let's take a compound of copper and ammonia, CuNH3 whole 4. Here copper NH3 whole 4 2 positive plus 2 molecules of ethylene diamine reacts to form copper En whole twice plus 4 molecules of ammonia. So here the copper complex with chelating ligand ethylene diamine is more stable than the corresponding complex with ammonia. This increased stability of the ethylene diamine complex of copper over the ammonia complex can be easily explained on terms of the favorable entropy during chelation. For example, addition of 2 moles of chelating ligand gives out 4 moles of ammonia. That is, increase in number of moles clearly signifies that the order of the system decreases, and if the order of the system decreases, it leads to the consequently increase in the entropy, and hence increases the stability. Now another factor which is responsible for stability of the complexes is number of chelate rings. A chelate in which more number of rings are found is more stable. That is, more the number of rings, more the stability of the so formed complex. The third factor which is responsible for the stability of the so formed compounds is the size of chelate ring. Now if the size exceeds rings of sizes greater than 6 member, they are not stable. This is because extra energy is required to bring the coordinating atoms of the chelating ligand close to the metal ion for bonding against electrostatic forces. The second reason for this instability of higher membered rings is that the decreased effective concentration of the other end of the ligand for large chelating molecule that forms 7 or 8 membered rings. Also, overcrowding is one of the reasons due to which the compound thus formed is less stable. Now we will discuss about valence bond theory, that is also known as commonly VBT. So first of all, let's discuss about the basic concept on which this theory VBT is based. This theory was developed by Pauling, who provided the first detailed explanation of the electronic structures of coordination complexes. The explanation is an extension of covalent bonding as discussed in simple molecules. So the basic concept of covalent bonding forms the basis of this theory. So this theory basically assumes that there is a metal atom which has a vacant hybrid atomic orbital, and there is a ligand which have occupied atomic orbital. Here two electrons, that is, here the metal atom or ion will behave as an acceptor, or we can say Lewis acid, and the ligand atom, it will behave as a donor atom, or we can say that Lewis base. So when these both combines, they form a coordinate covalent bond, which can be represented as follows. In this theory, the bond nature is considered as covalent. The central metal atom or ion here provides the unoccupied atomic orbital, whereas the ligand provides electron. The metal atom provides space, ligands provide electron, and both combine to complete their scarcity and form a covalent coordinate bond, which is represented here. This theory also gives account about the type of hybridization that a particular compound will possess with their arrangement, their geometry, and their coordination number. If the coordination number of a metal atom is 2, then the type of hybridization possessed by the complex will be sp, and the arrangement will be linear. If the coordination number of the compound or complex is 3, then the type of hybridization possessed by it will be sp2, and its arrangement will be trigonal planar. If complex coordination number is 4, then its hybridization is sp3, or it could be dsp2 also. In the case of sp3, the arrangement will be tetrahedral, and in the case of dsp2, the arrangement is square planar. Also, one thing to be noticed is that here the d orbital that is used for bonding is dx square y square orbital of the inner n-1 shell, n-1th shell. If the coordination number of the complex so formed is 5, then there are two possibilities that the compound can possess the hybridization of dsp3, or it can possess the hybridization of sp3d. In the earlier one, the d orbital which is used for mixing is dx square of the dz square of the n-1th shell, and in the second one The d orbital that is used for bonding is dx square minus y square of the NH shell. In both types of hybridization, the arrangement will be octahedral. If the complex formed possesses the coordination number 6, then its hybridization will be D2sp3. Again the arrangement will be octahedral. Here the d orbital used for bonding is dz square and dx square minus y square. Both orbitals of the NH shell. This specification is noteworthy. Now let's take some example to further get a better understanding of valence bond theory and its explanation. So here we will take an example of compound or complex of chromium, that is CrNH3 whole 6 charge 3 positive. So we will study the formation of this complex ion. As we know that the atomic number of chromium is 24, so its outer electronic configuration will be 3d5 4s1. So if we draw the orbital structure of its electronic configuration, it will be as follows. So if we fill the electron 3d5, that is 5 electrons in the 3d orbital, it will be as follows, and 1 electron in the 4s orbital. Now here the oxidation state of chromium metal ion is 3 positive. It is present here in the oxidation state of 3 positive. So from here it is clearly seen that 1 electron will lose from the 4s orbital and 2 from the 3d one. So we are left with the outer electronic configuration of 3d3 of chromium 3 positive ion. So we will fill the remaining electrons in the following shells as follows. 3 electrons in the 3d orbital, now there are 6 ammonia molecules that are present for donating the electron pairs. So here the formation of this complex ion will be defined as chromium NH3 whole 6 whole 3 positive. This compound will form as these 6 molecules of ammonia will donate 6 pairs of electron as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. As it is clearly seen that there are 2 d orbitals, 3d orbitals, 1 4s orbital and 3 4p orbitals are used for the coordinate covalent bonding. So here the hybridization of the given complex ion is D2 sp3 and hence the arrangement will be octahedral. And as it contains 3 unpaired electrons, therefore it justifies the paramagnetic character of the given complex. So now we will discuss about the limitations of this VBT. First of all, the very first limitation of this theory is that it fails to explain the color and spectra of the complexes. The second limitation of this theory is that it also fails to explain the differences between the measured and calculated magnetic moment. Although the theory is successful in predicting the number of unpaired electrons in the complex, it also fails to explain the change of mu with respect to temperature. The theory fails to explain the relative stabilities of the given complexes. Now, before wrapping up the chapter, we will discuss some of the applications of the coordination compounds. So, first of all, we can estimate hardness in water which is a very important application of coordination compounds in chemistry, because as we know that there are calcium and magnesium ions present in water, and by complexing the ions of EDTA with these ions, we can estimate their presence, that is the presence of calcium ion and magnesium ion. Also, selective estimation is also possible in this case, as we already know that calcium and magnesium both have differences in the stability constants when they form complexes with the EDTA. So we can also selectively estimate the amount of calcium present in the water and also the magnesium ions concentration present in the water. Hence we can estimate the hardness in water. This is the one of the most important application of coordination compounds. The second one is estimation of metals. Metals can be estimated quantitatively as these complexes with certain chelating ligands, they form precipitate. For example, if we take nickel 2 positive, this reacts with DMG, that is dimethylgloxine, to form a rosy red precipitates. Hence we can estimate the presence of nickel ion. Also, purification of metals can be done by using the appropriate knowledge of coordination compounds. As for example, metals can be purified by chelating with acetyl acetone, that is ACAC. This purification method depends upon the volatile nature of metal acetyl acetonates thus formed. Also, there are other important complex compounds which are extremely crucial for our survival. For example, hemoglobin. This is a complex compound made up of containing Fe2 positive ions. This is a compound of iron, which acts as an oxygen carrier. Also, vitamin B12. This is a complex compound of cobalt 3 positive. Chlorophyll, which is extremely important for the plants. It is also a complex compound which contains Mg2 positive ions. Also, some chelates are used for medicinal purposes. For example, cisplatin, which is used to cure cancer. Hence, coordination compounds are very important in our daily life also. So this was all about the chapter. Thank you.